Hey everyone, if there's a punching bag that person from any walk of life can enjoy wailing on, it has to be annoying streamers. Sneako, for example, probably has a lot of people that want to see him decked on the side of the jaw, not just because of the kind of person he is, but his facial structure as well, where it looks so smug while also being perfect to be hit at the same time. So thankfully today, those kinds of people are going to enjoy seeing his past endeavors when he's trying to get into a bit of fighting, wrapping on boxing gloves, putting on a gum shield, and going to an MMA gym. But not just any gym, it was actually Sean Strickland's gym, as if that was the best place to walk in and have a light spar when you've never fought before. I don't want you, spoiled who won, but after, he went to a normal public gym and sparred, quote unquote, a bodybuilder that was like double his body weight. So all in all, this entire experience was like satisfying that sweet tooth of people like this just getting decked in the face.
It's been a rough start to the year for Sneako. Like always, he's managed to find himself in a bunch of controversy, and it all started on January 7th when he got into a beef with 27-year-old Mikey Musumeci. If you just go off appearances, Mikey doesn't seem very intimidating. He has that stereotypical nerdy look, and at just 5'7", 134 pounds, he's a pretty small guy. But his looks are deceiving because he's actually an extremely skilled and talented fighter.
It's called an Aoki lock. It's a modified heel hook, but
Jiu-jitsu is for autistic people.
what I think a master of jiu-jitsu is somebody that
Perfect phrase to piss off a guy like him.
That's why I like striking. This is a competition where it's an art and it's an art form, and I learned from the master. He looks like Mark Zuckerberg. He shouldn't be winning.
so much
Right, in the first, how long is the video? In the first 48 seconds, he's made me really want to see him get his kicked in just from that.
Leg heel lock.
Who knows why Sneako went after him, but he does this sort of thing all the time. He probably didn't expect Mikey
Yeah, who knows why he does this, apart from the fact that he's just, mentally brain dead. I don't know.
off, and he posted a video response on Instagram.
So today I'm going to talk about bullies. Bullies are weak people that make fun of others around them, that give themselves relevance, and that make themselves feel good. They pick on the differences of humans.
I really like this guy because I can tell like he is like a champion some degree at a martial art, but he does like play up to the nerdy character, which automatically just pushes him to have this kind of fight with Sneako.
I'm a jiu-jitsu guy. Let's have an MMA fight. I challenge Sneako to an MMA fight. I'm going to shut his mouth and I'm going to take the bully's lunch money.
The video got millions of views, and Sneako's fans began pressuring him to respond. They wanted him to get in a cage with Musumeci and have it out, but this would only ever go one way.
What kind of name is that? Mitsubishi. Sounds Japanese, but of course more likely leaning to Italian than anything else.
And Pan American champion and colored belt.
Yeah, see, I was right, he was a champion. In 3 degrees. Is that him on the top, bald?
American to win more than one IBJJF world title at black belt, and currently he's the flyweight submission grappling champion for one championship. This guy.
See, that's funny because as Sneako, how do you look up those pictures and still agree to your fight? Well, clearly, it's not the same playing field as both, Because clearly, if he does do a fight, which he probably will. No, he does. The video's called that, but it'd be funny to see how badly he gets messed up.
I will fight you in MMA under one condition, because you accused me of being a bully. I called you a Mark Zuckerberg lookalike, and I've never seen a world champion accuse somebody with no experience of being a bully. But I accept. I understand why you're upset. One condition, because I don't need.
There's no way he knows nothing about him if he said no experience. Oh, what's he talking about himself?
And your lookalike, Mark Zuckerberg, to have a 1-hour conversation with me about who controls the world. And then I'll fight you, inshallah. I'll see you soon, Mikey. Look forward to it.
It's funny how it just flipped the table, so I'm going to like a bullying the nerd, quote unquote, that can definitely kick his shit in, and now it's flipped to him being, actually we should have a debate about who runs the world, because he has no chance in the ring with him.
Or else you won't fight. This was one of the top comments on Sneako's post, and it's an interesting point. Sure, Mikey has a relationship with Zuckerberg and they spar together, but the chance of him convincing Zuck...
Also, he was joking, he actually does fight with Mark. Oh my god, pretty impressive.
Sneako
that makes sense because of the whole BJJ thing, so yeah, I'm not surprised.
Discussing this video, I actually think Sneako was serious and that he was prepared to take the beating. Either way, Mikey was not happy with his response.
Oh, I'm being very brain dead, but wasn't the thumbnail with like him sneak over black eye and Strickland looking very disappointed? Please tell me this goes down the path of like Strickland ruining his life with so much training. Please, I want to see that so badly.
beyond the safety of their screen or even in the bathroom recklessly, and they never face consequences. There's so many people out there like him. My goal here was to stand up to a bully. Kids, get yourself into Muay Thai or Jiu-Jitsu so you can learn self-defense and you don't have to deal with idiots like Sneako.
Sneako responded to this, but he didn't budge.
One condition. I'm not getting paid. You're a world champion, and this was my first time ever training. I want to speak to Mark Zuckerberg for an hour about him. Bring that part up. Don't say that's a bunch of stipulations.
I was want you to talk about Mark's. Oh, okay.
Regularly, let me have a
That's not worth getting your jaw broken by this guy.
Not all these
You know?
stipulations. I'm not asking for like weight things. I'm not asking for any clauses. I'm just saying I want to speak to your sparring partner, Mark Zuckerberg, live on a stream, and then I'll do MMA with you.
It'd be funny if he talked to him like, just whisper in his ear, please just tell him to like not go that hard, okay? Just keep it a nice simple fight, okay? It's not for a
The
championship.
fight never went ahead, and the whole saga ended there. Sneako came away from it looking pretty bad and was even called out on the Joe Rogan Experience for being a bully. What's ironic about the whole thing is that this
get him,
entire
Joey.
beef started because Sneako said jiu-jitsu is for autistic people. And now, not even 2 months after he said that, he's posting streams where he's in the gym practicing jiu-jitsu.
Oh, what a hypocrite.
It's impossible to take someone
It'd be funny if he like just right after like, yeah, BJ is actually pretty badass and masculine. Hell yeah.
From around the time his beef with Mikey started, Sneako started hitting the gym regularly. He's been training in mixed martial arts, and we've seen him sparring a fair amount. He's had numerous UFC fighters make appearances on his streams, and they've all spent time teaching him a thing or two. Most of these guys have been really friendly and
I feel bad for some of these UFC fighters because you can tell they're retired and they don't really have a lot of. No, they do have a lot of time, so they just go on these streams with this guy. I want to watch one of his videos. There's no way they actually have like good conversations. If it's more one-sided and like the UFC fighters are like, yeah, sure, whatever, man. Can I have my money now?
consider him to be a bully. He's known to go really hard in sparring, but it's unclear whether Sneako knew this before agreeing to get in the cage with him.
God.
Just before their spar,
That's my
Jake
guy,
Shields, another mixed martial artist, warned Sneako about Strickland.
Should I wear headgear or no?
Yeah.
Do you guys have headgear?
Let's see if someone has one.
Okay.
How does this even happen? How do you go from fighting a guy, the nerdy guy, the BJJ guy, who's pretty good as well, just doing like 100 times worse by fighting a UFC champion? There's no, we're not fighting him, but training with him, but still, like, what in your brain makes you think like, yeah, that's gonna be good? It'll be a fair playing ground.
Yeah. We'll do like some cardio after.
Even though it was starting to sound like a pretty bad idea, Sneako still decided to get in there with Strickland, and he did it without headgear. For the first few minutes of the
Why?
spar,
Legitimately,
Sneako
why?
take shots at him while barely putting up any resistance. He kept talking to Sneako, taunting him as he ate his punches. Stood next to each other.
You can tell he's not taking seriously because he's still working the wearing a microphone on his wife beater. He's not trying hard.
Strickland was just toying with him. As the spar went on, Sean began counting down to when he would let loose.
We got 4 minutes.
4
As
minutes?
we get closer to the 3-minute mark,
If I was Sneako, I would just spend that 4 minutes when you like get out of the cage.
should be setting in right now, then nothing you can do can hurt me. And this is a moment.
I know it's not a very fair weight class, but still, one shin kick would just atomize his entire skeleton.
Strickland was taking some sort of sick pleasure in the whole thing, knowing full well what he was about to do.
It's gonna be like a New Year's countdown, like 3, 2, 1.
Shots that could have been seriously damaging.
Yeah, hell yeah.
There was literally nothing Sneako could do besides try to protect himself. People kept throwing in towels, but Strickland completely ignored them, and the fight only stopped when someone jumped in to break it up. It was really
Hell yeah.
surprising that Sneako didn't go down during that, because Strickland wasn't holding back. He came away with a bloody nose and some bruises, but it could have been worse.
And not a single shattered ego. You know, I don't even care. Normally it pisses me off when I see like a sparring partner go way too hard at a gym with someone else. That it's nowhere near on the same like wavelength of like how hard they want to spar, but it's still so one-sided because one person trying way harder than the other. But this time I don't care. I really feel like Strickland knew about Sneako before in the past. Okay, no, it could be 2 options. One, he knew who Sneako was and he hated him because of how like whole persona. Like Strickland definitely is like the yin to like Sneako's yang because of the whole, you know, just the energy. And Strickland's like, what the hell are you talking about, pussy? And shoe, right? If it wasn't that, he'd definitely be pissed off this random skinny guy that's popular online and has never fought anyone before, is trying to walk into his gym acting like he could like overtake him, which he definitely didn't say to his face, but Strickland definitely is the kind of guy that would get that kind of, you know, energy from someone and to be pissed off at them. He's not a very negative person, but still, like, of course he's gonna take that advantage if someone's being cocky in a way.
The fact that he stood his ground and didn't go down, even though he couldn't fight back. Strickland, on the other hand, got a lot of criticism, but unsurprisingly, he didn't care at all.
Good.
You know, the thing about like sparring, I am not a good man. I tell you guys all the time, I make mistakes. I do things I shouldn't do. I'm not a good man. I like to hurt people. We all know this. Like, I've never hid this fact.
See,
and
people like him that deserve like 10 million fans as opposed to people like Sneako.
You haven't proved yourself. You don't deserve not to get hurt. Yeah, no. If Forrest didn't jump in, I would have took your life if I could have.
It's thought that Strickland is like this because of his upbringing. He was brought up in an abusive household with an alcoholic dad who terrorized his mother, and the trauma he suffered in those early years is what made him turn to fighting.
I went through like pretty severe trauma as a kid, like pretty up trauma. Well, like I could sit there and joke about it, but I would always miss school because my dad would get home drunk, start drinking at like 6. He would get home at like 7 and like just be up until like 3 a.m, just like tell my mom, tell my mom she's a whore, he's gonna kill her, like, and I'll never forget, like he would talk about like burning her face with acid. And mind you, I'm in elementary school. I'm in elementary school, right? So like,
so that's a lot of responsibility then you feel probably just to like take care of your mom.
Oh yeah. No, he'd always tell her that like, if you cheat on me, and she probably was cheating on him, if you cheat on me, I'm gonna like cut you up and put you in a bottle of acid and bury you. I remember like laying in bed. Like I remember I stopped believing in God.
I know I shouldn't question the threats of a drunken man, but still.
Yeah, it's crazy shit, dude. Crazy shit, man.
At this point in the conversation, it all got too overwhelming for Strickland, and he sat quietly, sobbing for a while. He then went on to share how he used to be so anxious because of everything going on that he would obsessively scratch his gums to the point that they would gush blood, and he still has a hole in them to this day. He wanted out of the life he was living so bad that he considered the unthinkable.
I remember like, you know, like you don't even know what it is when you're a kid. When you're really talking about suicide, like being a little kid, like laying in bed, like just, like, man, I'm done with this shit. You know, like, there can't be a God. When I talk about like, oh, I'd kill a man, it's like you don't understand. You're like, you go through that level of trauma, like you just view the world differently. If it wasn't fighting, bro, I'd be in jail. Like it's not like to have like, you don't understand. Like I truly have a deep down urge to kill somebody. Like I can't. It doesn't go away.
With this context,
that's heartbreaking. From the only clips I've seen, he was more, whenever he talked about his dad, he was more like laughing than anything else. But I never knew there was a clip where he actually fully cried.
Sneako like that. Still, it doesn't excuse what he did, but Sneako seems to have taken it on the chin.
I kind of feel bad for him, like because I could tell that he's very few fighters are fighting because they enjoy hurting people. But there's a phrase like hurt people. The guy clearly has a troubled past, and he's doing it because he genuinely he wants to.
I don't feel like that's his actual opinion of him. You know, deep down, he's definitely more pissed off that he got his shit kicked in the cage. Like I've said that like 5 times in this video. I just think of new metaphors for getting beat up.
Fulfill their father's prophecies in order to show how great Dagestani and Islamic culture is. They do it for the honor of it. This dude is just like. Comes from a troubled past and just wants to hurt people, and so there's like different justifications for why.
Even though the spar between
you have to respect that more. Just nothing else than unbridled rage. I respect that.
A few months earlier. Unlike Strickland, Bradley has little to no fight experience, but he is 260 pounds, which makes him a giant compared to Sneako. One day, while they were training in Bradley's gym...
What's his hard turn from him fighting an MMA fighter to some bodybuilder?
But he also didn't wear a mouthguard, which he did when...
You're not even in the ring. Get in the ring, guys.
Fight, and Bradley landed a lot of punches straight to his face.
I hate these kind of freak fights. Even this is sparring. Why? Is it at a public gym or like this guy's own gym? I don't care. If I was at the gym, like working out normally, I'd just be a pussy and just keep on listening to my earphones.
Get up, 30 seconds.
Right. Okay, I know I made a joke about getting in the ring. Imagine the back of his head right on here, okay? You deserve to be in a hospital at that point.
They continued for a bit longer before calling it quits, and it was only then that Sneako realized he'd chipped his tooth.
Bro, you chipped my tooth, Brad. Oh, really? Yeah.
Yo, really? Man, that sucks.
Where'd it go? I spit it out mid-fight.
Go on.
As well as a chip, he also got a cut on his eyebrow. It's pretty clear Sneako needs to be more careful with who he chooses to spar with. Fighting guys double your size who want to hurt you is never going to end well, especially when you don't take precautions by wearing protective gear.
Okay, you know, on one side, he does have the perfect protection for, you know, having these kind of fights. Now, hear me out, okay? It's controversial opinion. I know it sounds dumb. I know we've been listening to him just getting beat up non-stop. But with how thin he is, any person that's actually fought before would be like, okay, I'm not gonna go super hard, but I'll go hard enough that I don't seem like a pussy. Most fighters do have like that macho mentality where they would despise the image of them getting beat up by some skinny nerd. So they go at the perfect level where they don't like destroy them, but they do let them walk away with the feeling of, okay, I'm the loser, clearly. There's no debating it. He hit me way more in that fight. Like, compare if he was built, right? If he went up to like a UFC champion or some bodybuilder, they would feel way more threatened and would go way harder. But with the way that he is right now, being skinny, there's no way someone would be like incredibly harsh to him. And it's funny how he mocks that appeal for that like image of the mean nerd, you know, like BJ is for autistic people, but at the same time, that is like the perfect shield keeping him safe from taking like a roundhouse kick from Sean Strickland when they sparred in the ring, in the cage, sorry.
2024 hasn't gotten off to a good start for Sneako, but it gets worse. Everyone knows that
Right, I want to talk about this for a second. I don't like this idea that it's not a good year for him. I want to explain why.
Many things he said online, and now he exclusively posts his content to Rumble. It's been over a year since he joined Rumble,
really?
And ever since, he's been extremely active on the platform.
If you're banned on all three, just give up. I don't think Rumble's gonna have a long lifespan for you to actually, you know, do well on it.
Pretty hard to watch. While he was in
I'm not. Okay, I take it back. 500,000 views. Not bad.
Kai Cenat showed up. Sneako noticed them and it looked like he was waiting to greet them, but they ended up walking straight past and didn't acknowledge him at all. It even seemed like Speed was mocking him when he turned around looking left to right. From the look on his face, you could tell this got to Sneako, but he didn't mention it and just went into the event. He was in the VIP section and there were many other big names around, so after spending a bit of time watching the contest, he began networking. At one point, he stopped to watch a guy perform a magic trick, and it was then, less than 40 minutes after he got in there, that security asked him to leave. He was escorted out of the VIP section while all the other...
I do hate him equally, right? But was he not invited?
It's unclear why...
I'm guessing he was walking around too much, you know, causing too much chaos.
...about that, or asking people why Kai, Speed, and others were ignoring him.
Can I ask you a question, Mike? Yes, sir. Why do you think there's this overall vibe of a lot of like industry people, they don't f with me? What is that?
Why don't you want to be friends with me, Mikey? Will you be friends with me?
I'm not really sure, bro. I think everybody probably has a different reason for it. I'm not quite sure. You know, I think you take shots at people, and when you take shots at people, obviously they're gonna mark that in their mental. A lot of people that I don't take shots at. I don't know, but also yeah, I'm sure there's a lot of.
You can tell like he has no idea about him. Like they're in the same industry, sort of, but still like he barely knows who he is.
It's true Sneako doesn't do himself any favors by always criticizing people and getting into beef. And the fact he's always bringing up hot button...
Okay, no, I'm sorry. I'm looking at his channel on top right. I saw a string of numbers like 15, 12, 9, 57. Did he ask the people's age? Because that's embarrassing.
Most influencers don't want to be questioned about things like that or have debates on it. And who can blame them? At the end of the day, they're entertainers, not political commentators. But Sneako can't seem to decide which he is.
You know the dumbest shit, I gotta be honest with you, is the fact that genocide is controversial. Like, being against genocide is controversial. Saying free Palestine, saying that what's happening right now, people getting bombed during the Super Bowl, while Taylor Swift is chugging a beer on live TV for your entertainment, they're moving people out of the Gaza Strip into another village just to bomb them even more. And saying that's wrong, saying children dying, saying genocide is wrong, is controversial. That's the up part about this industry, that all these people need to be like, I don't know, buy Prime.
Okay, that's a decent stance, you think. When he brought up genocide, I was like, oh god, what's he gonna say now? But yeah, that's a decent level-headed opinion. Sneako, if you ever meet me, I'll be happy to be in your streams, you know, if you recognize a Soul.
They try to lump me in with these other influencers. I want to reiterate right now, I am not like these other niggas, man. I am not like one of these other influencers. I'm not them. You know, hey,
Why won't Speed and Kai Senna talk to me?
every day. But they put these guys, Kai and Speed, they walk out the red carpet for them. I get it. I get it. They're not a brand risk. They're, you know, they're jumping around, they're dancing. They're not gonna speak about anything that is gonna cause a problem.
I've seen like 4 people say L monkeys on the chat.
It's undermined by the fact that he clearly...
You know, even if Sneako did have a clean image, right, his fans would drag him. It'd be like a crab bucket mentality, where no matter what he does, they'll drag him to the pits.
Everybody else was silent. Well, everybody else was like, what? I immediately defended you because I know that they try to do that to successful men. As soon as you get to the next path in life, they try to bring up some false allegations, and I defended you, Kai. And then you walk right in front of me. Aiden, same thing. When you got canceled, these people were not your friends. They only friends when it's profitable for them. This whole influencer shit is like...
Right, if you're in the industry, right, within the first 2 weeks, you have to realize if you have a bad image, people will stay away from you like the plague. He's been here longer than like a week.
Even like each other.
What I find funny about Sneako is that when he's out in public at these events, he comes across as mild-mannered and approachable. But when he's in the comfort of his own home behind his screen, he becomes a totally different person, shouting down the microphone and pointing the finger at people. Given he always does this, he can't be surprised when people stop wanting to be around him.
Do you Sneako?
No.
It's truth. Elaborate or no?
Oh, lie detector, really?
Okay.
That can't be very nice to hear. Even though Sneako's stacking L's at the moment, it's not all doom and gloom. Despite being banned from most major streaming platforms, he's still being talked about all the time. So ultimately, he's succeeding at the one thing that's most important in the social media game: staying relevant.
Exactly, yeah. That's why it's weird that he brought up, like, it's 2024 a bad year for him, where you've, okay, a chipped tooth, that sucks. Getting beat up for like a minute straight by Sean Strickland. The important thing is, bottom line, at the end of the day, is that people are still watching his streams. Like, even if it's not the kind of, you know, rant that he does normally every day, as long as, like, he makes the headline of, like, Sneako gets beat up by Sean Strickland, or Sneako has a tooth chipped by bodybuilder at gym, that's still putting your name out there for, like, the common attention for everyone online that would otherwise never care about you. Like, if you do the same kind of streams every single day and never go out to like big events or cause like a little bit of drama, you're never gonna get a lot of fans unless they really care about you, like on your streams where you talk about like the dumbest stuff ever. But one genre of content that everyone can watch and enjoy is seeing like a fight, because you don't have to like have a knowledge or someone understanding of who he is, Sneako. You can just watch him get into a ring with some UFC champion, see him get beat up. That objectively is something like everyone could watch and enjoy, regardless if you hate him or not. Which now, looking back to what I said earlier in the beginning of the video, like, oh, why would he spar with Sean Strickland? It makes sense now with the whole hype he had built up, trying to fight the BJJ guy. I'm guessing that he saw that's the perfect timing to also try to fight with an MMA fighter who's massive. Which, to be fair, that is pretty good timing. See, that's the thing I hate about these people, right? They're so annoying on the streams or videos, whatever, but at the end of the day, they're still good at keeping attention online and finding new ways to make them, like, put their name out there. Because if they weren't, we wouldn't know them still. Like, they would have the one wave of like being massive, but then just die out, and you wouldn't see videos about him like, you know, constantly. Like, it is a good way to make content. Like, it really just, it works for itself. Like, you do nothing, but people make videos about you later on YouTube, you know. It's somewhat smart. As much as it breaks my heart to say, it is. I'm sorry.